There, I'm Sana from Huspy and welcome to our Home Buying 101 webinar. Today's webinar is all about covering the basics of buying a home in the UAE. So whether you're a first-time home buyer or it's just your first time buying a home in Dubai, this webinar should have you covered and really set you up for success for the entire duration of your home buying experience. Before we get started, let's quickly run through the key topics we'll cover today. First, we'll go through some essential topics to think about before you kickstart your home buying journey to really help streamline your process. Next, we'll have a quick run through the two main journeys of buying a home here in the UAE, the off-plan journey and then the mortgage journey, which is more commonly associated with buying a ready-to-move property. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty. We'll cover the documents you need to get a mortgage and to buy and sell. In addition to that, we'll also cover the fees. All the fees that you can expect throughout this journey of buying a home until you get the keys in your hand. We'll also cover the top areas that are getting a lot of people's attentions here in Dubai, both for property investors and homeowners. So let's get started. So there are a number of things to keep in mind even before you start your home buying journey. The following factors are really important if you want a streamlined experience. It really is going to set you up for success right from the very beginning. But of course, these are not all of them are mandatory, but it's always good to keep in mind before you kickstart this journey to limit the amount of hiccups along the way. First, prepare your finances. Buying a home, as we all know, is very pricey. And it's really important that you keep in mind all the fees and of course the property price and the down payment, everything you need to pay, but also keeping in mind your current financial situation. So thinking about having a strong credit score of above 700 is really important, as well as being mindful of any other loans you might also have. Now, in the case that your credit score is low, so below 700, things that you can do working towards improving that can include paying your bills on time, managing your debt, and also credit utilization. Next up, off-plan or ready to move. As I mentioned earlier, these are the two most common journeys here in the UAE when buying a home. And depending on your reason to buy a home, whether it's to live in or as a property investment, this might also influence your decision making in terms of choosing off-plan or ready to move. To quickly run through them, an off-plan property is one that is purchased directly from the developer. It's also one that is still under construction. So you most likely will not get the keys to this unit somewhere between 6 months to even up to 3 years. Please keep in mind that this property is not financed by a bank, but through a payment plan with the developer directly. Then you have a ready-to-move property. This is quite a common property type worldwide, because this is when a seller sells their home. Usually it's already lived in or has just been put on the market brand new after construction. Banks can finance up to 80% of this type of property through a mortgage plan. Next up, what to think about before you start your search. It's really great to have some kind of preferences in mind because it can help you and your property consultant really find exactly what you're looking for. So are you looking for an apartment or a villa? Do you need an ensuite or a separate bathroom? Are you looking for a maid's room, need an office? And even going down the line of whether or not you're looking for something that's going to be high ROI or just something that's great for the family. Because there are so many options here in the UAE, having these kind of preferences in mind are really going to set you up for success and really help make sure you find exactly what you're looking for, especially if Dubai is not somewhere you've lived in for a very long time, or even if you're an expat completely. And finally, just mentally preparing for getting ready for the journey. Everybody's home buying experience is going to be different. It's influenced by your financial situation, your property preferences, and also keeping in mind timelines as well. So if you are getting a mortgage, please remember that a mortgage pre-approval usually is only valid for about 90 days. Obviously depending on the bank. Sometimes it's even shorter than 90 days. Don't worry. That doesn't mean you're going to have to end it all after 90 days. You can always reapply for a mortgage pre-approval. And then also keeping in mind once again about the off-plan projects. If they're under construction, you won't get the keys straight away. So it really means that your entire journey is going to be determined by all of those initial factors. So let's get stuck into the journeys. First up is the off-plan journey. Now, this is a unit, as mentioned, that is bought directly from the developer and is still under construction. Usually you'll get the keys within 6 months to up to 3 years' time. First up is searching for a unit. Now, there are many ways that you might come across an off-plan project, either by seeing an ad online, maybe even driving past a construction site and thinking, oh, I'd like to live there, or even on Huspy.com. Now, Huspy.com is really handy because we make sure to give you all the necessary information, all of the amenities that come with the unit and also in the building, as well as the payment plan that is usually most typically associated with this project available at the time. When you're really ready to get stuck in, that's when you can give Huspy a call or even book in a consultation. Our team will just check your eligibility, making sure that you have enough money for the down payment. We understand your property preferences, as well as making sure you have a regular source of income. Now, if you're not 100% sure where you want to live, what kind of property you're looking for, get in touch with us because our property consultants are some of the best on the market and they're really going to be able to give you expert advice to really help kickstart your journey. When you're in the process of searching for a project, now you most likely will not have an opportunity to view a unit because most of them are still under construction, but developers usually have showrooms. They also have 3D renders as well as floor plans to really give you a feel of what to expect of the unit that you may or may not purchase. And don't worry, your Huspy property consultant will be with you every step of the way to really make sure that you feel confident in your choice. When you've finally found the one, this is the time to secure your unit. You'll secure this by signing a sales purchase agreement, also known as a SPA. And what this means is that at the time, you'll also have to put down a down payment. This can be anywhere between 1% to 20%, depending on the developer. Plus, there are a couple one-time fees that at this point you're going to have to prepare to pay, such as a 4% DLD title registration fee, a pre-title deed fee, and this has to be done within 30 days of signing the SPA, sales purchase agreement. There's a lot of acronyms and names for this contract type. And then once you've reserved your unit and everything is signed, this is when your installments will begin with the developer. Now, depending on your contract type, that will determine how regularly you'll be paying those installments. Now, the topic of mortgages. As mentioned earlier, off-plan projects are not financed through a bank, but rather direct installments with the developer. But keep in mind that there is the option of a post-handover mortgage. This can only be delved into and you can only really start looking for that post-handover mortgage in the last milestone of the construction. You can, of course, have a chat with the Huspy team because we have expert mortgage consultants also on hand to help you. But it's really important to understand that a mortgage can only be given when the bank has some kind of confirmation that this unit is actually going to be constructed and be. Now, after you've made all your installment payments and the construction is nearly up, it's time to make it yours. Once the unit is ready and the final inspections have taken place, it's time for the handover. Keep in mind, all of the installments that were necessary to be paid have to be paid at this point. And then you'll get your access card and your keys, and you'll finally become the homeowner. Okay, let's have a look at the mortgage journey. A mortgage journey does look a little bit longer and a little bit more daunting than the off-plan one, but don't worry, let's go through every single step so you can have a good idea of what to expect. Now, as mentioned, a mortgage journey is more commonly associated with a ready-to-move property, which is usually sold by a seller. The first step, especially if you're working with Huspy, is that we go through the similar eligibility check as we do with the off-plan. We make sure that you have the right finances for the down payment and any additional fees, and this usually totals up to about 22% of the property price. Plus, we make sure that you have a regular source of income, as well as get you kickstarted on collecting all the necessary documents you'll need to get a mortgage. Typically, when you want to get a mortgage here in the UAE, the first step is getting a mortgage pre-approval. This pre-approval document gives you some peace of mind that the banks will be willing to give you a mortgage once you find your ideal property. Plus, it gives sellers a sign that you're a serious buyer because you've put the effort in to get the pre-approval in the first place. How to get a pre-approval, you ask? Well, if you're using Huspy Portal, super easy. Our secure platform allows you to add all the necessary information you need for us to help you build out your bank application. So all the information from your name, your email, your phone number, any liabilities that you have, your income, your residency, all of that necessary information first helps us go through an eligibility flow. So this process will let you be able to find out how much you're actually going to be able to borrow based on all the information you've provided to us, all the liabilities, and also your income source as well. Once we have an idea of how much you can borrow, what we can actually do is show all the available bank offers that will work for your eligibility. Then, with the help of our mortgage consultants, we can help pick the right bank offer or multiple for your liking. Once we have a bank offer in mind, now comes the process of uploading your documents. Again, we make it super easy because we list out all the necessary documents so you don't have to constantly keep in mind or have it written down. It's all going to be on the portal. And also we give you tips on how each document should be uploaded. Once that's done and you've completed your bank application, our team will make sure to review all your documents and make sure that everything's in order before we send out your application to the bank. After submission, there is some time that we have to wait until the bank finally gives you pre-approval, or they can also come back with a few other questions and a few other document requests. If everything is in order and the bank is A-okay with giving you a mortgage pre-approval, you'll get your pre-approval, which means this is like your golden ticket to be able to start viewing properties seriously and really going as far as putting in an offer. As mentioned earlier, the mortgage pre-approval is only valid for 90 days, depending on the bank. So if you're going to start your property search, you might even want to start it in parallel with getting pre-approved, but maybe mentioning to the sellers that, hey, I'm getting a pre-approval, it's nearly done. Once you've found your ideal property, it's time to make an offer. Your property consultant will be with you along the way, helping you out throughout this journey and giving you advice and being your point of contact. If the seller accepts your offer, then their representative will draft an agreement with the conditions of sale and transfer date suggestions. But once both parties are happy with the conditions of sale, then you'll sign a memorandum of understanding, also known as an MOU. By signing the MOU, you'll also have to pay a security deposit that should equal to about 10% of the value of the property. Backing out at this stage might actually be costly, so please keep this in mind. So, because you are getting a mortgage, this is time where the bank steps in and conducts a property valuation through a neutral third party, just to make sure that the property matches the mortgage that you plan to take out. Usually there is a valuation fee that you need to pay for this, but the report takes approximately 3 days to arrive. In order to wrap this up, there are 2 last steps. First is the disbursement. This is when the bank will transfer over the amount of money for the mortgage. Then it's time to register a sales transaction. This is done at the registration office. Remember, both the seller and the buyer need to be present in order for this to happen, but you can also authorize your conveyancer to act on your behalf. Once the final payment has been made and the trustee officer hands the seller or the representative the checks, the keys to your new home can now be collected. And there you go. You've become a homeowner. I know that was a very long journey, but we've gone through it. And I think that having this in mind, and also the fact that you'll have a Huspy, a mortgage consultant there, cheering you on along the way, is really going to make this process as smooth as possible. Now, let's run through quickly the documents that you'll need for getting a mortgage. Now, I won't go through all of them because, as you can see, there are a lot depending if you are a UAE resident, a non-resident, or a UAE national. But again, like I mentioned earlier, it's super easy if you're using Huspy Portal because depending on what you've selected, those are the documents that will show up in the documents section ready to be uploaded into the system. As mentioned, the list of documents will differ between not only your residency status, but also if you are salaried or self-employed. But there are some common documents that you'll see throughout that are required, such as your residential address proof, your local ID, passport copy, residency visa, salary certificate, and personal bank statements. It's really good to start collecting these documents early because some of these documents you'll need to acquire, let's say, from your bank or your employer, and this might take a couple days to collect. Keep in mind that there's always a possibility that the bank will request additional documentation that isn't part of the usual set of regular documents, just because they need extra documentation to validate or verify the ability to give you a mortgage. When it comes to the documents required for buying and selling, a lot of these documents will come quite similarly to the mortgage process as well, but there are also forms that you need to also fill that your property consultant will also help with and make sure that they have on hand in order for them to also kickstart the process of the buying and the selling of a home. Now comes the most asked topic when it comes to buying a home: fees. And rightly so, because buying a home, as mentioned earlier, is pricey, and it's only fair that you are fully prepared for the full amount of money that you'll probably have to spend throughout the entire process, from getting a pre-approval to the property transfer stage. So, in order to make sure that we can really dig deep into all the necessary fees, we've actually broken it up into these 3 stages. First up, we'll have a little run through of what fees are associated with the mortgage pre-approval stage if you're getting a mortgage. Now, in this stage, you have bank processing fees. Normally, banks charge a fee to provide a mortgage. This is usually up to 1% of the mortgage amount plus 5% VAT. Now, a smaller percentage of this fee is charged at the application stage, and any remaining balance will be due before signing the final offer letter, which is the next stage coming after this. The first installment is usually referred to as the application or pre-approval fee. Next up is the final pre-approval stage. We've broken this off between off-plan and mortgage, and there are some overlaps as well, which will make this process a little bit easier to understand. Firstly, if you're getting a mortgage, as mentioned earlier, there'll be an initial deposit that you'll need to make between 1 to 20%. Ready to move properties, that will require you to pay up to 10% of the purchase price when signing the MOU. In addition, as mentioned earlier, there is a property valuation fee. This can range anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 dirhams, inclusive of VAT. This is usually paid to the bank by personal check at the time of submitting the property papers. This is also the time that you'll pay any of the remaining fees due from the bank processing fee that we mentioned earlier in the mortgage pre-approval stage. And finally, we have the property transfer stage. This is the final stage that you'll be expected to pay any upfront costs. And I'm not going to lie to you, this one is a doozy. There's quite a lot of fees involved depending if you're getting an off-plan or ready to move. First, if you're getting a mortgage, you'll have to pay a DLD mortgage registration fee that is 0.25% of the loan amount plus an additional 290 dirhams. Then you have the DLD fee, which is 4% of the purchase price, and then a DLD admin fee, which depends between off-plan and ready to move. If it's a ready to move apartment or villa, you'll be paying 580 dirhams, and if it's an off-plan, you'll be paying 40. The registration trustee fee is broken down between off-plan properties, which you have to pay up to 5,250 dirhams. And then if it's a ready to move, it is dependent on the property price. So if it's below 500,000 dirhams, you'll be paying 2,000 dirhams plus 5% VAT. And if it's above 500,000 dirhams, you'll be paying 4,000 dirhams plus 5% VAT. Now, real estate agencies can sometimes charge a fee. This is anywhere between 0% or up to 4% of the property value plus 5% VAT. This is usually negotiable and will depend on the Form F or MOU that you signed with the real estate agent. Now, if you're getting a mortgage, life insurance is mandatory, and the cost varies by bank and also the health of the applicant. Your consultant will also advise you of these fees and help you along the way. And finally, the conveyancing fee, which is somewhere around 4,200 dirhams. Before we wrap things up, let's get onto something a little bit more lighthearted, and that is looking at some of the top areas to buy in Dubai currently. We've broken this down to 4 key areas, being suitable both for homeowners and property investors. First up is Dubai Marina, some of the most impressive views here in Dubai, but also these are apartment buildings that have been there for quite a long time, quite frequently associated with ready to move purchases, and like I mentioned, amazing views, really lively community, obviously very well built in terms of the amount of buildings around, so you really get a sense of community in Dubai Marina. And on average, the price of a studio apartment currently is approximately 600,000 dirhams. Next up is Business Bay. Right next door to downtown Dubai and Burj Khalifa, it's also the business center of Dubai. You'll have the beautiful Dubai Canal that kind of runs through Business Bay, and you'll get a little bit of a feel of city living, but also, especially if you live close to Business Bay, it is ideal to be close to your workplace with or without traffic, depending on the day of the week here in Dubai. On average, the price of a one-bedroom in Business Bay will set you back about 600,000 dirhams. Next up is JVC, also known as Jumeirah Village Circle. Next up is Jumeirah Village Circle, also known as JVC. This is a very popular neighborhood for property investors. There are a lot of great projects currently being built in the area, and it's a growing community. So it mixes villas, townhouses, and low-rise apartments. And the community has been designed to look like an urban village connected by many parks and also canals. The property price for a studio at the moment is approximately 400,000 dirhams. And finally, we have Dubai Creek Harbour. This is located next to Ras Al Khor Wildlife Sanctuary and really is going to give you close proximity to downtown while also having a little bit of a quieter experience by the creek. Starting price for a one-bedroom at the moment is approximately 1 million dirham. Now, if you're looking for a more family-friendly area, not to say that the other four are not family-friendly, but we wanted to give a shout out to a couple more areas that we think are really going to be great communities to consider if you're buying a home. Those are Jumeirah. So Jumeirah, a very classic neighborhood here in Dubai, very well built, well constructed, a lot of very good schools. Then we have Emirates Living, which is a mega community located alongside Sheikh Zayed Road. We also have Arabian Ranches 1, 2, and 3, which is a little bit more outside of the city craziness, but also full of parks and greenery to really help give your kids a really comfortable life. We also have Mirdif, which is a much more classic, ready-to-move area that's a little bit outside of the hustle and bustle of downtown Dubai. And finally, we have Dubai Hills Estate, which is located alongside Al Khail Road, and it has so much greenery, so many parks, and a lot of schools being built around to really help make sure that it's appropriate and exciting for children of all ages. So that's been our Home Buying 101 webinar. We really hope that it's given you a bit of clarity and the necessary information you need to kickstart your process of buying a home here in Dubai. If you're ready to start with your home buying journey, you can head over to huspy.com to start searching for off-plan and ready-to-move projects, or also sign up to Huspy Portal to kickstart your mortgage pre-approval process. Or if you want to talk to a human, we're here as well. Please give us a call on 4581-3616. Don't forget to download your copy of our Home Buyer's Guide so you can get all of this information and even more on hand throughout your home buying journey. Until next time, goodbye, and we hope that you can call Dubai home with Huspy soon. Bye.